much, Governor. And just want to start out by saying that we had about 100 people here during the storm that rode the storm out. And in the last 10 days, just the stories I've seen and the places I've been, we can't be more honored to be able to work side by side with FEMA and the federal government to be able to support the people of Puerto Rico go through this devastating storm. And it is going to be an extensive rebuild project, but I wanted to just give you a couple highlights. In the last 24 hours, I think we've had 7 different meetings with FEMA leadership, and I have had unbelievable new respect for the Director Ramos and the people of PREPA on how we're going to go ahead and partner together to do this side by side. I'm not sure the TV screens will go, but over in the front left here is a copy of the grid. And this is basically what we're going to try to tackle. And this morning, not only did we have a lot of senior level meetings, but then I went over and I saw the hardworking people at Puerto Rico that work for the director. And I'm talking 30 or 40 people that have been working very, very hard for the last several days, not just this storm, but the storm before, committed to be able to continue to do everything they can, whether they're putting pole trucks up or they're out there trying to figure out how to fly the lines. And so we went through this particular grid, and we're really going to do this in 4 different steps, all working side by side. First and foremost is maximum installation of temporary generators. So this is where if the mayors, if the local officials see where there's a requirement, I would strongly encourage you to get those into the governor's office so then we can make sure we have a very, very clear understanding of where temporary generators need to go. Our teams are out putting generators in now. The governor mentioned a couple of those. And we don't have a shortage of generators. We're going to continue to keep installing those to be able to continue to get the point generation up. And the directors even mentioned the ability to do some microgrid. So we're looking at several different options. So that's really step number 1 is generation. Step number is the point installation of temporary power. Step number 2 is the generation part. We've got to make sure that generation facilities are working. The director has a great handle on that. He knows the status of his facilities, and we've got to continue to be able to do whatever we can, whether it's helping getting fuel in to be able to get those power plants running, but to be able to make sure there's enough electricity in Puerto Rico to be able to push it out. Step number 3 is hard. Step number 3 is transmission. If you look at the slide, we're talking the blue lines there. These are the large lines that run across most of Puerto Rico, and several of those are down. Where we really have a problem, as working side by side here, is the ones that go north-south. And the director's got his teams out right now flying those, working very, very hard to try to get those lines up and running. But that's going to be a challenge. And then fourth, and is going to take most of the time, is what we call distribution. This is coming down from where you see the big, large metal towers down to where you would see wooden or concrete poles. And those are where it really affects most of the people of Puerto Rico when it comes to residents. So all 4 different steps, all working concurrently. The most important thing I want to assure all of you, though, that this is going to be a team effort. This is the Puerto Rico Power Grid. The director's got an unbelievable team, very, very committed, very passionate about doing this, working very, very hard. The Corps of Engineers, FEMA, is excited to be able to partner with the authority to be able to work side by side. The other thing, Governor, I want to reassure you, I just had a meeting with General Buchanan, the 3-star that's down here from the Department of Defense, and he has assured me that anything the Corps needs from the Department of Defense, the United States Army, we're all in to be able to make sure that anything we can do logistically or anything we can do when it comes to security or fuel, that we have the full support of the Department of Defense. So, Director, I want to personally thank you for the time you've taken today. And this is hard, and I don't want to have any illusions that this is going to happen overnight. You'll see a change, but there's a part of this that's going to be a long-term fix. And we are very, very honored to be able to work side by side with your team to be able to make this happen.